everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk, and this is the card that I'm making today. Hello there, and thank you for joining me. Today I have made a stepper card. Now these have been around for quite some time, but I've just never made one before, so this is my first attempt. And I think it came out pretty well. So stay with me, I'll show you how I made it. I've stamped my relaxing gentleman in Memento Tuxedo Black onto watercolour card, and I'm just scribbling my Stampin' Right marker. This one is in Petal Pink. Just scribbling it onto the closed plate of my Stamparatus. Could have used an acrylic block or anything really that's non-porous. Now I'm picking up the Mango Melody, and I'm using my blender pen, using the same pen that I used for the skin tone, and coming directly in with the marker, and again blending out the colour with the blender pen. This is Pacific Point, and colouring in his shorts, and again bringing in the marker where I want the colour to be a little bit deeper, a little bit stronger. So this is Poppy Parade, and it's a little bit muddy, so I need to clean the tip of my blender pen a bit. And now I'm doing the stripes on the deck chair. Okay, so now that I've done that, I want to have some So Saffron, and that's going to be for the ground underneath the deck chair. In my mind, he's on a nice beach somewhere, and also going to colour his hat in the same colour. Balmy Blue is going to be my colour for my sky. And again, just quickly picking up the colour. Back with a little bit of So Saffron, and that is done. This is Pacific Point cardstock. It's 5 inches by 10 inches. I'm going to use my stamping trimmer to help me with my measurements. Now this has been retired. If you've got one that's something similar, you can go ahead and use that. If you haven't got something like this, then you can just use a ruler and a pencil, because all I'm really doing is using it to help me measure. So I'm going to start by measuring the card halfway at 5 inches. So I'm just going to lightly draw a pencil line. Now the cutting plan and the measurements, you can find those on my blog. So I'm also going to make a mark at 6 inches. Again, slightly and in pencil. And then I'm going to turn the card around and measure at 1 inch from this edge and at 2 inches. Okay. Now, long ways between these two marks, I'm going to measure 1 inch. And same thing here. Line that up with the 1 inch mark, and between this mark and this mark, 1 inch. Okay, don't worry about the pencil marks. I'm going to get rid of those later. Alright, so since I've got this handy little tool out, I'm going to carry on using it. So I am going to, let me turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use my paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut along this line here. So I'm going to start by lining the point on my paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut until it lines up at the other end. Okay, so same thing over here, but I'm working down towards the bottom of the card. Line that up at 1 inch and cut between those two lines. Now again, if If you don't have a trimmer that will do this, then you can just use a ruler and a pencil. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to the can't think of the name of it. Scoring blade. That's the thing. Or actually, I can use my embossing tool. So I'm just going to score just between this line, excuse me, and the edge. All right, and the same thing for the one that's an inch further in. Just line between the channels, and the very last line of all, again just between those two cut lines. And then I want to make one more score, and this time I'm going between these two lines. All right, so I'm up 5 inches and away we go. Okay, so now I have done all of my scoring, and now move that away, and now I need to train them. So this one is going to come towards me. I'm looking at the right side of the card. The two at the back are also going to be mountain folds. The one at the front is a mountain fold, and these two are going to be valley folds. I have my bone folder to help me crease my lines, and there it is. Next I want to cut the mats for this card, so let's do some measuring. So this piece is 3 inches by 4 inches. So I'm going to cut a piece that is 2 3/4 of an inch by 3 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so that is going to sit nicely on the top of the sleeve. And then I want some pieces that are 3/4 of an inch wide. So 1, 2, 3. Going to keep those bits on one side, and let's start sticking things down so I know what I am doing. Let's use the jolly old liquid adhesive. And how long do I need these pieces for? So this piece needs to be, that's 4 inches, so 3 3/4 of an inch. There's 1. There's 2. And I'm going to have quite a large gap at the bottom, but that's okay because I'm going to cover that up with my punched out piece. So this is looking lovely and sunny and cheerful. this piece needs to be, so that's 5 inches, so this needs to be 4 3/4 of an inch. I'm really liking that. Let's put the top back on the liquid adhesive. Okay. So that was 2 3/4 of an inch. So now I need a piece that's 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. I hope. So let's cut 3.5 inches first. Oops, that moved by that was 2.5. Was that it? Is that right? Yes. And then this little guy goes inside there. Now I've just done it, but I just want to, so that's 3.5. So this needs to be 3.25. And let's be looking there. So I need to take a little bit, I think I'll take it mainly off this side. So where are we? So that's 2.5, and it needs to be 2.25. Yes. So let's just take a little tiny bit off here, not too much, and 2.25. And I think that is coming along quite nicely. So this is a little offcut piece of the Mango Melody DSP that I had left after I'd trimmed all my matting layers, and I'm going to artist here because I can. And I'm just lining up my sentiment, which says "It's Your Day," and it's from this same snap set, with my Ginghamy DSP, and I want my, it is Pacific Point ink, and I'm trying to get this pretty much centered because I'm going to punch this out in a minute and there isn't an awful lot to play with, so it's quite important that I do get it centered. Okay, that's fine, and I'm just going to clean that stamp off with my Simply Chamois, which looks dreadful, but that's okay. Okay, now I want to cut cut out this sentiment with my tailored tag punch, but it's going to be quite difficult for me to punch and to hold on to my bit of paper. So what I've got here is a post-it note, and I'm going to use that to create a handle that will allow me to line up the punch with where I want it, and then I can just punch. And I can just take the bit of post-it tape off the back. Okay. So I've already gone ahead and punched out the same shape in Pacific Point, and I'm just going to cut that in half. My big snips, here they are, my big scissors. Because that way I can have a border at the top and at the bottom. Oops, come back here, you. There you go. Oops. That was what I wanted to do at all. That was silly. I have stamped Relax Your Way onto this little scrap, and I'm going to trim it quite close to the wording. Oops. That's okay, because I'm going to be chopping that bit off. And I'm going to stick it onto this offcut of Pacific Point. I'm going to trim close to the edge on this one. And I'm just doing it by eye. Okay, I'm sort of eyeballing it. Doesn't matter if it's a bit, you know, if it's a bit wonky. I've left the ends where they are because I'm trying to decide. Yeah, I think I'll just snip those off close to the wording. Oops, I've broken my thumbnail. I shall have to sort that out later. And time to start putting things together now. Now, I did punch out another one of the tailored tag labels, and this time I split it that way, north to south rather than east to west, so that I've got a shaped border going all the way around my card now. And oh, can we go wrong with dimensionals? I don't think so. Those are mini ones. Let's get some of the full-sized ones. I'm going to pop them onto the back of our tag. Ta-ta-ta. Take off the backing. I'm going to go and see if I can mend that with a bit of a tea bag and some super glue in just a moment. So it's got time to grow out. Okay, so let's centre that. And for this one, I'm also going to use dimensionals, but I'm going to use the little mini ones, which I don't use all that often, but when I need them, they are super handy, because it saves me chopping big dimensionals in half. And there it is. That is my finished stepper card. As I said at the start of this video, these have been around for quite a few years now. I'm just playing with it. And I've just never been motivated to make one before. But I think the guy in the deck chair there, it kind of inspired me, made me think of deck chairs, and I thought that this would be a very good card to show off that stamp. So that's it for today. Thank you very, very much for joining me. Do hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if so, then give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel. Why not? Be a devil. In any case, do come back and see me again sometime, won't you? But for now, bye bye.